So we had signed up for CIM because you were also going to be racing it. So we're like, well, we're going to be there anyways. Get a bib. And then you've got a second race in your back pocket should Chicago not go the way you want. And so our race plan, well, spoiler alert, I did not listen to the race plan, but the plan was like to kind of treat Chicago as a bit of a workout, like start at this pace, run progressively, pick it up. Like it was very much like start slow, start conservative, and pick it up from there. And I just felt so good on race day. Like 5K in, I'm feeling really good, and I'm checking my watch. I'm like a bit quicker than you plan to go. 10K in, feeling really good. And I remember having this self-talk in my head. I was like, the marathon doesn't care how good you feel 10K into a 42-kilometer race. So I was cautiously optimistic, and I'm like, okay, I feel really good, but like, at what point might that change? When will the other shoe drop? And so I get to the halfway mark, which is when I knew I was going to see you. Like I throw my empty bottle of scratch, my high carb, and then you toss me my next one. And you look at me and I'm just like I'm feeling good. And you're like, you're having a day. And I get to the 30K mark. I knew I had just run a 30K PR. Like I know, like, and I knew even when I crossed the halfway mark, I was like, 2 or 3 years ago, this was probably a half marathon PR.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was rolling really well through 21K, through 30K. Eventually, around 35, 36K, when we kind of turned into the headwind, things got a little bit harder. But it actually wasn't like a legs body soreness. I'd started to tell all the fuel I had consumed at that point, and I have literally all my fueling still written down on my computer from that race. In 2 hours, and this is spoiler, in 2 hours and 46 minutes, I had consumed about 255 grams of carbs.
Which was your most to date for that time period.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I was actually mostly noticing my gut around 35, 36. And I was like, I'm feeling a little queasy. Don't throw up. Just keep going. Like you're fine. And so, yeah, I crossed the finish line in 2 hours and 46 minutes and change. And I felt so good. Like I remember having a kick coming down. Is it Columbus? I forget.
I think it's Columbus. Yeah. Before you turn and go up the overpass to the finish there.
Yeah. And the part of my body that was the most sore after Chicago was my right shoulder. Because when I run, and that's like I tense up a little bit. So my right shoulder was a bit sore crossing the finish line. But I was like, I feel like I can keep running. Like I felt so good. And I'll pause there. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I was just going to say, like, from a coaching perspective, there's this story I tell all the time where I was coaching some elite women that were doing the Canadian 5K champs. And I remember saying, like, it was up in Edmonton, so a little bit of altitude, and they were just starting to break on the scene. And I remember saying, like, don't go out faster than, I think it was like 325s, like 520 something miles. And I see their first miles like 5:15. I'm watching the live feed. I literally just closed my computer because I knew it was going to happen. And they blew up. But I remember with you, I was like, she doesn't normally do this. Like, this isn't a typical thing for her where she goes out too fast. And like Chicago, you're always wondering in the majors, is the tracker right? The first couple miles and such. But then you just kept ticking along. And I was like, okay, Brant, remember, there's such thing as overcoaching. Like, don't screw this up for her. I remember looking at you and you're like, yep. And I was like, okay, yep. Like you said, you're having a day. Go get it, right? And I think it's super cool because, like, to be clear, you can do that a lot better when your volume's high. You can take slight little risks like that because you've got a lot of good data to know that you're not going to implode, right? Not always, but it does help, right? So for newer marathoners out there, marathoners on less volume, you can't always kind of make that judgment call. Chicago also is really great because it's flat. You don't get beat up in the back half or anything. But I think, the main thesis I want people to take away from the story is, like, not everything has to go right and you can still run a PR. And so I think had you had the mindset that, like, everything had to go right, the second things didn't go right, whether it was picked in or how you were feeling going in, or even like earlier in the year where you're like, I'm trying to do these big things in the marathon and now I'm out on a cast and stuff, it would be easy to give up or, have your confidence drop for all the external reasons that were going on and such. And I think that was one of the cool things you did. You just kept, like, believing in yourself. Like, if I follow the process, if I train, if I do everything I can, then if I show up on race day and it's my day, I can take advantage of that, right? So it's like, there's that old cheesy quote that's luck is, or opportunity is preparation plus luck. right? And so you had an opportunity, but it was because you were prepared and you got lucky. You didn't get lucky in terms of like you didn't deserve to do that, but you had a little bit of luck that it was your day, right?
Yeah.
And so I think, for everybody listening, like that's got to be a central takeaway is like there is no one single run or week that is deterministic of marathon success or failure, but it's all about how you stack those. And, you having probably at that point a year and a half, 2 years of decently high volume, right? That also helped you bounce back from that injury. That also helped you in the marathon build recover faster from that, bad day you had in Picton and such. So anything you want to add to that one?
No, I think just like when I crossed the finish line, I mean, I threw up.
You puked, yeah. That's right.
Yeah, there's a great series of photos on Marathon Photo where there's like photo, 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 and I get closer, closer, and closer to the rail where I eventually throw up. But I remember just crying. I was so happy, and it just felt like so cathartic knowing how the year had started, like injured, in a cast, unable to walk or run, and be like, how is this like 4 months after my cast came off? Like it just seemed so surreal to me. And like it really was one of the first times where I thought I really got to express my fitness because, in Boston in 2022, I ran 2:59, but we thought I was actually in 2:55 shape. But it being Boston. In Philly, we thought I was between 2:50 to 2:52 shape. Really windy day. I run 2:55 for a PR. Grandma's didn't go the way I wanted. So I was always performance-wise a couple minutes behind what I thought the fitness I was in. And this really was the first time where I thought my build and my fitness and my performance were all equal to one another. And it just was the happiest feeling I've ever had. So I'm like, I know this wasn't just the Chicago build. Yes, my build was, I don't want to say flawless, but like it was an incredible build. Like everything came easy. Everything felt easy. But that build wouldn't have been possible without the Grandma's build, without the Philly build, without the Boston build. So everything really just compounded and cascaded onto one another. And it just really felt like I had my day. And we know that doesn't always happen, right? It doesn't always happen for me. It doesn't always happen for a lot of people. And in a distance and a race like the marathon, so many things need to go right on the day. And I've said to so many of my athletes, I wish A plus B always equaled C. Good build plus good taper equals good race. But that's just not true, right? And I've had probably every combination of great build, shit taper, good race, mediocre build, excellent taper, great race, like every combination. So it's like you really do need sometimes the stars to align on race day. And it just felt like everything went that way in Chicago. And the last thing I'll add is just like, I was looking at my watch during the race being like, this is faster than you plan to go out. But I just had such trust in my body on that day, which also was really cool because I had such a lack of trust in my body earlier in the year from the stress fracture, feeling like my body had betrayed me. It didn't give me the signals. It didn't give me the cues that you should be in pain. There's something wrong. Get checked out. Like there were no cues to tell me that until, it did. So just really having so much trust in my body on the day that like, I know my effort and this feels very low effort. Like perceived effort was just like, I'm chilling until 35K. So that was kind of cool.
And so I think it was such a cool moment for you. And I think it really spurred this idea that like you could chase big goals, right? Like you could like really now start to think about, okay, how good could I actually get? And so I'm going to gloss over the last kind of year or so.